Welcome back. Before the break, we showed you the latest numbers and also what is at stake tomorrow, Super Tuesday. Now, in this segment, some expert analysis from someone who's had skin in the game. For that, I want to bring in Amanda Renteria. She, a national political director for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Amanda, did you see it coming this soon, that before Super Tuesday, both Mayor Pete and also Senator Klobuchar would be getting out?
You know, I think the South Carolina results really put in place who a moderate candidate out there really showed Joe Biden with his name ID could actually do what he set out to do, which is to say, I can build the coalition. And I think his strong results, the fact that Congressman Clyburn came out for him, a very strong African-American leader, and said, this is our candidate. And the words he used to say, we trust him, we know him, really made a difference. And then the follow-on with the story of the comeback kid, I think really set in place that it was time to start to make this field shorter, to start to really put together who are our best candidates going forward in order to win this election cycle.
That said, you've seen some of the math and the numbers, particularly California. It looks like it will go strong for Sanders at this point. People have done the math. It seems that we're going to have maybe a hot mess come Milwaukee, frankly, with a contested convention. And while, you know, all of us political nerds who love the West Wing to actually come to life, it may play out nonetheless. How do you see this happening? Do you see more of a coalition consolidating around Biden? I'll talk about your old boss and maybe even the most recent president, where they'll fall in this. But do you think that's going to come together? And what does that say both about Bloomberg, for that matter, let alone Warren?
Well, I think in this sense, we're a little bit early to see how the electorate is. But what I will say is there's one through thread through all of the polling, through all of the data, is the importance of beating Trump. I think the second piece is the importance of building the kind of coalition that can win. And so that's what a primary process is about. And just at this point in 2016, we knew that we had to show that we could build a coalition over time, that it was going to expand and grow over time, and that people would come together. The good news in this election cycle is from the very get-go, everyone has said no matter who the nominee is, we know our number one goal is to make sure that we beat Trump. I think that will come together.
I think endorsements, and you know this better than me, Amanda, they don't mean as much as they used to in the past, but nonetheless in South Carolina, Congressman Clyburn's name carries a lot of weight. And when he went behind Joe Biden, although it took him forever to do so, it cemented at least what the inevitable outcome would be. But he also said something about the campaign of Joe Biden. I want to share it with our audience.
I did not feel free to speak out about it or to even deal with it inside because I had not committed to his candidacy. I have now. I'm all in it. And I'm not going to sit idly by and watch people mishandle this campaign. We are going to get it right.
Now, I know one political consultant or people who've worked in campaigns don't like to comment negatively on others, but it's been an open secret, Biden's got little in the way of money right now, and moreover, there's been legitimate questions, whether it's the candidate or those who've handled him, that it has not been a well-run candidacy to this point. Is Clyburn right? They need a shakeup in Team Biden here going forward.
Well, I think what they're referring to is he's got to be organizing every single state. And he hasn't had the resources. They were trying to figure out how do we get him up to speed. I mean, the truth is he was a little bit late to this race, and you're seeing his debate performances got better over time. His organizing got better over time. And right now what we're seeing is endorsements from his campaign come in more and more. So now you're honestly seeing a turn in that campaign. And I do think what Clyburn was mentioning is we need to see you on the ground. We need to see your organizing structure. You need to put that management together really does matter. And I think putting that together while you have the momentum is so much easier. And there's no doubt coming into Monday, but also coming into having the Senator Klobuchar endorsement really does bring the momentum forward. Now they've got to make sure that they use it well to organize in order to get out those votes.
I want to bring in your old boss, Hillary Clinton. And as a reminder, Amanda was the national political director for Hillary's campaign in 2016. We knew there wasn't a lot of love lost between her and Senator Sanders, but there was full-on shade thrown recently. I want to get your reaction. Among other things, the Senator Clinton said about Bernie Sanders, quote, He was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney, and I feel so bad that the people get sucked into it. I know she's not speaking just for herself with that. I know you said at the end Democrats got to rally around a candidate, but just how much of a divide and how really broachable is that divide at this point between people who say Sanders really isn't a Democrat, he hasn't worked on behalf of other Democrats historically throughout his career, and conversely, a lot of the Sanders people, when polled, said, like I think it was 52% said they'd vote for the Democratic nominee, and the others would either stay home or vote for Trump. How big of a real worry is that, and how surprised were you that the former First Lady, that Secretary Clinton went as far as she did about Bernie?
I think there's no doubt that this party is in a different place in 2020 than they were in 2016, which is, again, united against Trump. As far as the comments in terms of his Senate experience or his Senate relationships, I think people will look into that. People will look at the data, look at what he's accomplished and what he hasn't. And you are seeing some of that bubble up now. You are seeing the fact that he really didn't work with a lot of folks to get things passed. A lot of what he has been saying and what he has been doing has been pushing the edges of the party, which sometimes does mean you don't have as many bills passed. And so, his supporters will look at it one way. Those who are running against him will look at it another way.
I know that President Obama has said that he's going to stay out, as historically is the case, of the primary process until they get to the convention. That said, though, man, Bernie Sanders has said that one of his principal platforms is going to be to undo the signature legislative achievement of the Affordable Care Act and take this country in a direction that is not remotely in the same vein that President Obama for 8 years put the country in. And obviously, his running mate is battling neck and neck with Sanders. To that end, do you see any scenario where the former president and former First Lady that they get involved in this process sooner rather than later?
I don't see that happening. Now, I will say many might have seen in South Carolina that people were using his voice in a misleading kind of way. And I think he will weigh in on moments like that could actually help a candidate. We've got to come out of the convention together, unified with the president and the vice president that can win in this election cycle. And I think he will reserve until then. And I think it's smart to do so for a party.
Good stuff. Amanda, I appreciate the few minutes. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Up next, we're going to pivot to the other big story. I'm talking, of course, about the coronavirus and presidential leadership, or arguably lack thereof. We're going to take a look at the politics and the partisanship surrounding this administration's response to the virus and why the president is taking a ton of heat for the way that he's handling it.